Meteorologist Mike Griffith here for East Coast Weather Association. And it is Saturday. This is your outlook for May 13th, 2017. And we're just looking at the GFS model here. Here comes the two pieces of energy that are going to merge together to create our East Coast storm. That's generally going to just stay just off the coast of Jersey and move up to Boston and into the Gulf of Maine. And those are primarily the only areas that are really going to get affected by this storm system. So here we are, Saturday morning. It's raining much across the southeast, including the Carolinas and even up into New England and Philly, New York, waking up to rainy Saturday morning. And this is through lunch hour. And we're looking at continued showers and thunderstorms across much of the southeast, although it's going to be pushing out of here probably sooner than we first thought, and then it'll be dry here across much of the southeast behind this system, but it's going to remain wet up here, Philly, New York, maybe even DC on the backside of the rain here, but it's going to start to push into New England as we go into the day on Saturday, and it's looking like a wet Mother's Day up there across much of New England. Sunday, we're looking at the storm strengthening up here in the Gulf of Maine. It's going to be a rainy day across much of New Hampshire and northern New England, and quite windy up there as well, all the way from Connecticut up through Maine. This is going to be where the storm is going to go for them. Very, very intense upper level energy associated with this storm. So they're going to see some gale force winds up here in the Gulf of Maine, Massachusetts. Boston is going to be the end recipient of this coastal low here this Mother's Day weekend. And let's back it up a little bit here and take it into Monday of next week. It looks like it's going to be mainly dry across the southeast and the east coast, except for some lingering remaining clouds and some showers across Maine. And then Tuesday looks like it moves out. There's some clouds moving up into Pennsylvania, and there's a little bit of a storm system up here in the northern plains, although we're going to be mainly dry across much of the east coast. And we're actually going to start to warm up as the heights here in the east coast are going to start to bulge, which means that there's going to be a ridge, and that in turn means that we're going to start to heat up here in the east coast, especially starting Wednesday and Thursday in the next week. Pretty decent disturbance out there in the west, moving into the plains, causing some severe outbreak here across Oklahoma, Kansas, Texas, and even up into Nebraska probably. And here's the storms right here in the GFS radar. Thursday of next week, we are going to heat up here in the east coast. Little disturbance is forecasted to move across this central southern area, and then it moves into the east here across the Carolinas and maybe even Virginia. And that's just going to cause, with the warm air and that little disturbance right there, is going to cause some instability across much of the Carolinas, Virginia, down into Georgia. Southern tip of Florida starting to see their daily thunderstorms fire up as we go into later next week, as things heat up and the little disturbances that move across the east coast cause instability and cause showers and thunderstorms later in the day as the week goes on next week, Thursday and the Friday. And then that seems to be pretty much the story for each day. Warm and sticky, even hot at times, and then late day showers and thunderstorms is going to be the pattern here. Now, as we go into Friday, it looks like another system tries to dig into the east here. Little shortwave piece of energy moves into the east coast on Friday next week. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it starts to get cloudy again, and it starts to cool off a little bit and starts to rain again. But we're still going to be in a ridge pattern here across much of the east coast. So it's going to be warm and wet and scattered showers and thunderstorms. Some of those severe, especially down here in the Carolinas. If we can get enough daytime heating, some of these storms could contain strong winds and hail. And that's typical for this time of year down here in the Carolinas. Nothing unusual to see here. But what is unusual is we're going into June, and it's looking like we're going to see a lot of the West Coast trough through the end of this month, and the East Coast ridge. But then that could flip once again and bring us an East Coast ridge and an East Coast trough, I should say, and a West Coast ridge as we go on the 1st of June. And that's what I was seeing in the long range. I posted that on the Facebook page over on Facebook. So keep it right here to YouTube, the East Coast weather, YouTube. Keep it tuned to YouTube. If I can speak correctly, that'd be great. I know it's almost 2 o'clock in the morning here in the East Coast. Keep it tuned right here to YouTube, East Coast Weather Association channel, and also ECWXA.com. That's our website with all the latest blog posts, forecast updates, long-range discussions, all kinds of weather goodies there for you, especially if you live up along the East Coast. So that's the trend right now. That's the daily outlook for Saturday, 13/2017. Have a great Mother's Day, everybody.